What do you hope number 11 stands for in the minds of Yankees fans across the world when your career is over?
What makes the numbers on the back special is the logo on the front, and playing for the city and for the organization and for the New York Yankees and what it stands for means everything in the world. And it's what makes, I know, everyone in the clubhouse so proud, all the support staff and everyone behind the scenes that works so hard. And we have a championship standard, and I just want it to be associated with winning World Series. And when you're able to do that, then everything else takes care of itself.
Anthony, thank you so much for talking to us today. It was an absolute pleasure.
Yes, thank you so much. It was so much fun. Awesome. Thank you. You killed it.
Anytime. Thank you. Here's some numbers you may have missed on today's episode. Anthony name-checked Aaron Judge, or Judgy, 7 times. He name-dropped a total of 11 current and former Yankees. He referenced his dog Jedi and Tampa, both 3 times. Uncle Ricky earned 2 mentions. We had 1 reference to James Bond. And our Yankees counter was just 2 today. This episode's numbers are presented by the New York Lottery. What are your lucky numbers?
For your home and your range, Bad Boy Mowers will tame any terrain.
Give me a home.
Designed with advanced engineering and fueled by power that's second to none.
And the skies are not cloudy all day. Home on the range.
Bad Boy. Mow with an attitude.
I'm sandwiched between the 2 generations. I'm helping to give caregiver responsibilities to my dad and then my son, who's just out of college. So it's like, where can I put my money where it can grow a little bit faster? I found Wealthfront and let it work its magic. The cash account is more like, what will my dad need? And then the investment account is what I want. My passion is traveling. I traveled to 6 continents. My last continent is what I'm trying to save for. You get that, oh, you've earned so much this month. It's like, hey, I made a wise decision there.
Your attention, please, ladies and gentlemen. You're watching Yes.
Both Yankees and Mets fans are filing off the subway in the Bronx, and for good reason. Aaron Judge and the New York Yankees will welcome their crosstown rival, the New York Mets, for the first of 3 in the Subway Series. And oh yeah, familiar face in the house, Juan Soto, back in the Bronx for the first time since choosing the Mets over the Yankees in free agency. It is the 29th season of the Subway Series, and we are getting you set for baseball right here on Yes. Hey everyone, I'm Meredith Morakovitz, and welcome to BP All Access. We have a great show in store for you this evening, and as we know, both the Yankees and the Mets are playing a great brand of baseball right now, each team in first place in their respective division. Earlier today, I had the opportunity to catch up with both managers, Aaron Boone and Carlos Mendoza, to talk a little bit about tonight's matchup. 2 friends, now foes for the next couple of days. The Subway Series is back. Aaron, I'll start with you. How much do you look forward to this series?
Well, I think it's great for baseball. I think it's great for the city, especially all that's going on in the city right now from a sports standpoint with the Knicks and us playing the Mets and 2 first-place teams. So, you know, to that extent, you know, I look forward to it a little bit. I know it's exciting, but, you know, us in the dugout, we have a job to do, and it's another important series along the way for us. But at the same time, I get to see my friend and a couple old friends across the way, and always love that competition.
Carlos, Aaron mentioned it, both teams in first place. Can you feel the energy around the city as this series was approaching?
Oh yeah, 100%. You got two teams that are playing well, really good teams, a lot of good players, and it just add to the excitement, that what's going on in the city. Like Aaron said, it's a special night in New York today. You got two teams playing baseball here in the Bronx. You got the Knicks and over there in the city, and it's just great for the sport, great for baseball, and it'll be a good show.
Hey, you mentioned good players. This one has a little bit of an added wrinkle. Juan Soto is back for the first time since choosing your team, Carlos. Just what's it been like managing Juan Soto for this first quarter of the season?
Oh, it's been great. It's as advertised, once we got him, obviously I made some phone calls.
Tell him about it.
He's not that good.
And it's just the quality of the person. He's very humble. The way he goes about his business, his preparation, and he's all about winning. It's, every pitch, every at-bat. And that's what makes him a special player.
Aaron, what do you tell your pitching staff in trying to attack Juan Soto?
Look, I know what I talk a lot about a heavy at bat, and Juan Soto's a heavy at bat, obviously. Just his ability to control the strike zone, the power threat to all fields. Just one of the sport's great hitters. So we'll do our best. We'll certainly be careful, but hopefully we can contain him enough for a few days to come out on top. But similar to Carlos, he was great in our room. He was great to manage, very coachable, and obviously a central figure for us in getting to the World Series, and somebody that I have nothing but respect for and fond memories, and it'll be great to bump into him today as well.
Are you looking forward to seeing what type of reception he gets here in the Bronx?
Yeah, it'll be interesting. I'm sure there'll be some creative things that go on. I just, really just want everyone to be respectful, and whatever that looks like, everyone to be safe and smart, and hopefully get a little creative with what they do, but in the end understand we're watching a great player and two great teams with a lot of great players play an awesome game. So hopefully the focus lies between the lines and the appreciation ultimately for two good teams in New York going at it.
Well, you mentioned Juan Soto, but you have a lot of good hitters on your side. Carlos, I know that you've been around Aaron Judge for a very long time, but how do you wrap your head around the fact that he's now hitting above 400, plus, of course, the power is always there with him?
Yeah, I'm not surprised by it, and I knew you were coming with that question. When you're asking him about Soto, I was like, well, probably the same thing we're going to treat Judge.
Give us all the secrets. How are you going to attack him? Are you going to attack him?
We'll let the game unfold, and we'll make some adjustments. Obviously, that's a deep lineup. There's balance. There's a lot of different ways. There's a reason why the numbers offensively as a team. Yes, Judge is, the big guy there, but 1 through 9, and you see the development of especially the younger players. Like, that's a really good lineup. Obviously, with Aaron, not surprised by it. I have the experience to coaching since he was in the minor leagues, and watch him develop and become the player he is nowadays. It's pretty special, and that, man, how much better can he get? And he just continue to prove people wrong, and it's just pretty unbelievable what he's doing. Not only hitting for power, but the average, everything. He's in the conversation for one of the best right-handed hitters in the history of the game.
He's run out of adjectives and how to describe Aaron Judge's performance on a daily basis. So I feel bad having to ask you that all the time, Aaron.
The latest one I'm going with is he's the big kid in Little League. That's just playing with kids out there. Like, he's just playing a little bit of a different game, and as Carlos alluded to, like his in 2022, right, he wins the MVP and has that year, and Carlos had a front row seat to that. Hits the 62 home runs. Like, how could, and he really has gotten better,
yeah.
And that's something that Judgy takes a lot of pride in, and like leaving the season of, hey, where can I get a little bit better? And each and every year, he's been able to do that remarkably.
We'll have more from the managers in just a little bit, but first we are going to head south to Baltimore to catch up with an old friend in Kenny Singleton. Look out, Mayor on the Move is next, right here on BP All Access.
Yankees batting practice today is presented by Audi, the official luxury vehicle of the New York Yankees. Visit your tri-state Audi dealer today.
For your home and your range, Bad Boy Mowers will tame any terrain.
Give me a home.
Designed with advanced engineering and fueled by power that's second to none.
And the skies are not cloudy all day. Home on the range.
Bad Boy. Mow with an attitude.
Okay, guys, ceremony starts in 5.
One sec, just got a hymns real quick. Hymns? Yeah, hymns. Hymn 2.
Hymns for ED. Always works for me.
I'm hymnsing right now. So simple, so convenient. Hymns. Weight loss by hymns, boys. You got to get on it, son.
For care that's doctor trusted, convenient, and personalized, get started today at hims.com.
At Designer Shoe Warehouse, we've got a shoe for every you. The styles you have to have, the brands you're obsessed with, the deals you'll brag about. For the love of shoes, get to DSW ASAP. Designer Shoe Warehouse.
For you, it's more than a bank transaction. It's landing your first fundraise. Or maybe it's payroll for your crew. So why doesn't banking do more? What if it was cutting-edge software that acted as a platform for your ambition? The truth is banking can do more. That's why over 200,000 entrepreneurs love Mercury. Because we bring all the ways you use money into a single product that feels extraordinary to use. So you can do more.
To be better advocates for ourselves and our loved ones. If you're at risk, no matter your citizenship status, get screened for lung cancer. To learn more, speak with a healthcare professional or visit this website. Don't let the fear of lung cancer get in your way. Early detection is key. It could save your life.
Welcome back to BP All Access. I'm Meredith Morakovitz, and it is time for this week's Mayor on the Move. We are in Baltimore, Maryland at LP Steamers, where they are known for their crabs, and who better to get cracking with than some old friends, the Singletons. Kenny, you all know, and his son, Dante. Kenny, what have you been up to?
What have I been up to? Playing a lot of golf, number one. Go watch my grandson play baseball when I can. Drive up to New Jersey. And hanging out with my kids, too. I had a chance to see Dante today. He's busy at work, personal trainer now. So
nice.
Yeah, so he's keeping people fit. I don't know if crabs will fit.
Yeah, where are we at on that?
No, these are fine. These will pass.
These will pass?
Dante's an expert. Born and raised here, so he knows what he's doing. I've seen him sit for hours and eat these things one after another.
Now there's an art to it, so what do we have going on?
First things first, you always want to take a good look. You always want to pick the best looking ones. I always like to go by the feel. If there's a decent amount of weight to it, you feel nice and full crab right there. So you turn them over, right? This is our first step right here. This little widget right here, whatever you want to call this guy, you want to pull him out right there. So pull him out, you can yank that off. That widget's gone.
It's like the wishbone of a crab?
More or less. Some people like to just open them as is. Me, I like to pick off the legs.
How you doing over
there? Are you going right into the claws?
Yeah. Here we go.
All right, so we got the legs off.
Mm-hmm. Crack that whole thing in half. Pick whichever half you want. Then you kind of give that a squeeze. And then go back in the middle and crack that in half. And now you got that whole thing open right there. And everything in there.
You're natural.
Yeah, this is like
You're
a
actually doing really well.
science, yeah.
And then everything in here, Obviously, that's not crunchy shell is meat.
So, Kenny, what's the best thing about being retired?
When I wake up in the morning, the day is mine. I don't have to rush to Amtrak. I do miss the people I work with. That's number one. Everybody, yes, is at the top of their game. They know what they're doing from bottom to top.
What do you remember about his time in baseball? Because I know you would visit. You would visit us in the booth.
Yeah, of course. That was always the
like
best
this
part.
big.
I know. That was it's a funny thing growing up with a father that you sit at the dinner table one night and then you see him on TV the next.
Yeah.
It's an interesting dynamic.
Now, were you a big baseball fan growing up, or not really?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Still am. Go Yankees.
Look out!
When you're in the batter's box and you see a ball coming at you, your famous look out.
Yeah.
It's pretty obvious, but when did you first start doing that?
It just came naturally one day. I said it, and I kept doing it, and I walk down the street, Lexington Avenue, New York, and people look at me and say, "Hey, look out!" Just and that sort of thing. So it kind of grew into this thing throughout New York, the New York area, which is quite kind of cool.
The claws of the fun part. All right, so first things first, you want to see this little hingy guy right here?
Yeah.
You want to take him, you can rip him right out there. And usually...
I mean, I feel kind of bad, but he's already dead.
No, he's fine. He's over it. Take your knife and get it right above where that other claw is. And get that mallet out. Go at it, hammer away. This little bit is going to be right in the middle of that chunk of meat, so just be careful of that. You can kind of, all you do is kind of slide it off with your teeth.
There we go. Now, Kenny, you spent a lot of years in Baltimore. What did you like about playing in the city of Baltimore?
Well, the 10 years that I played for the Orioles, we had a winning record every single season. And it was a lot of fun back in the day. I've become friends with a lot of the Yankees that I used to play against, like Ron Guidry, who I didn't like to hit against.
What made him so tough?
Great slider, a good fastball. I think in all the years I faced him, I only hit one home run off him. The Yankees had guys like Reggie and Chambliss and Greg Nettles and, of course, Thurman Munson. They were great teams. George Steinbrenner put together a tough bunch of competitors. They were not easy to beat, and it was always a challenge when you played them.
Now, this is actually airing during the Subway Series. You've been a part of a lot of Subway Series. You came up with the Mets. Favorite all-time Mets team? Favorite all-time Yankees team?
My favorite all-time Yankee team is the '98 Yankees. Made my job very easy. They were a great bunch of winning ball players with a great manager, Joe Torre, and a great coaching staff. So it was a lot of fun covering those guys.
A Mets team?
I guess the first one I got to, when I got to the big leagues, I was only there for a year and a half because I got traded to Montreal. But just to be in the big leagues, play with guys like Seaver and Cleon Jones and Tommy A.G. and Art Shamsky. When I got to the Mets, they were the reigning world champs. So that's one reason why I didn't make the team.
Well, that is going to do it from LP Steamers. Dante, how did we do? It wasn't terrible, right?
You guys are all right. I'll accept you into the club. You guys are, you're in.
Wait a minute. One more. Look out, everybody.
Such a great thing to hear. Kenny, we miss you. Thanks for joining us. We will be back after this on TV All Access.
You are my whole wide world. You'll never know how much I love you. When you're gone, I just think of you dying.
Mom, what?
Every time you leave my sight when you drive to school or stay out at night, this is where I go to the million ways inside my brain in which you could die at any given time.
Mom, Life 360. No more creepy songs.
Family-proof your family with Life 360.
Okay, guys. Ceremony starts in 5.
One sec, just got a hymns real quick. Hymns? Yeah, hymns. Hymn 2.
Hymns for ED. Always works for me.
I'm hymnsing right now. So simple, so convenient. Hymns. Weight loss by Hims, boys. You gotta get on it, son.
For care that's doctor trusted, convenient, and personalized, get started today at hims.com.
Switch to Square and join over 4 million businesses worldwide. More than a point of sale, Square keeps you ready for any restaurant rush. And with Square, there are no hidden fees ever. At Square, get 24/7 support to help keep lines moving. And with Square Banking, get a loan quickly for everything from small repairs to the biggest dreams. Gain time and peace of mind with restaurant tools that bring everything together. Switch to Square today. Visit square.com to get started.
Kevin, your head in the game. Your head in the game. Come on, put your head in the game. Log in. Get your head in the game.
Looking after our minds has never been more important. That's why at Rome, we're working with the NBA to inspire mental fitness in everyone, on and off the court.
North Carolina.
Welcome back once more on BP All Access. I'm Meredith Morakovitz, and it is now time to get back to my earlier conversation with Aaron Boone and Carlos Mendoza.
Aaron, he was your bench coach for 5 years. When did you know he was going to be a star, that he had that manager quality?
Almost right away, but I think it was after the 19 season where he went from quality control and the infield coach to, I knew we were going to lose him if we didn't put him as the bench coach. And so I knew early on, like, he's not just because he's here, like, he's a special person, like, and his experience as a player in player development, he's worn a lot of different hats, and he's a young man still, younger than me, but he's got a breadth of experience, so he knows how the inner workings of an organization work, the connection between departments. So I'm not surprised by his success. I think he's great at this, and part of that is because, he's an A-plus person, and I got to watch that close up and share a friendship and a work relationship with him for a number of years. So I'm not surprised at all.
You guys have spent so much time together over the years. Carlos, what's something about Aaron people should know that they don't know that you found out having worked with him for so long?
Wow, that's a good one. No, he just how much he cares about his family, like at the end of the day, he's the manager of the New York Yankees. He's coming from a big baseball family, but, just how much he cares about people. It's something that you see him, oh man, but just the friendship, the relationships, and that's something that I didn't know about him, but then, that's why I consider him a friend.
Aaron, I have to ask you the same question. You got to have a little more dirt than that. Come on.
I don't know about dirt, but his intensity.
Yeah.
You watch his demeanor, and he is cool, calm, and collective over there all the time. I always feel like he's in command and never seems to really get up or down over there. But there's a fire that burns in Mendy, and there's been a couple times where, man, you tick him off, and that intensity and that fire will show a little bit.
Well, I'm glad you brought that up, because we have a little bit of time left here. We're going to go around the bases, and that question of intensity, I'll ask you each the same question. You just give the first thing that pops into your mind. So in the event that you get ejected, which one of you do you think gets their money's worth more?
Oh, for sure. That's not even a question.
That's my thing.
Yeah, I got a ton of experience managing before I got this position.
That's right.
Because of Aaron, he's gotten better. I got to give him credit, But I got a lot of experience managing prior to this job because of this man right here.
It's almost like he did you a solid, knowing that you were going to grow into this type of role.
He had half a year in already before he got the job.
Let's go Arthur Ave or Arthur Ashe Stadium.
Ooh.
Arthur Ashe.
Arthur Ave. It's one of my favorite things to do in the winter. We'll take some staff over there, usually a couple times during the winter for lunch. I love that. But man, I've only done the U.S. Open one time, and I love that experience.
Yeah.
But I still got to go Arthur Ave.
But you probably were in a nice suite, center court, living life.
Yeah, it was a little foo-foo.
Remember your reporter friends, if you ever get invited again.
Yeah.
Jerry Seinfeld or Spike Lee?
Ooh.
Jerry Seinfeld.
Look, he's pained right here. He is pained.
I love Spike, I do, but I fall asleep to Seinfeld every single night. So in fact, I just listen to it in audio now, and I just can speak the lines with them. That's how much I watch Seinfeld. So, but I love Spike, but I got to go Seinfeld.
Favorite episode?
Ooh.
It's hard to pick one. They're all good. You know,
yeah.
like you asked me that, I was like, it's hard for me to say this one.
I like when the banter between Kramer and Seinfeld in season 7, 8, 9, how they just play off each other so well is amazing. I love the one. I fell asleep last night to the one where Kramer's going to make it big on the senior tour. Oh, you're really getting that good, huh, Kramer? Oh, I'm the real deal. So that I love that one since it's recent.
Hey, I know you guys have a 10 to do, so before we wrap this up, favorite Yankee of all time, favorite Met of all time?
Aaron Judge.
And it can be past or present.
And I will go. Go ahead.
Yeah, I'm going to go with Judgy, too, because, you know, pretty much saw him in the minor league. And again, you know, I can sit here and so many Yankee greats, you know, but I got to go with Judgy, and probably I'll go with Daryl Strawberry.
I'll go Doc Gooden, just because when I was a kid and when he was in his peak of powers, my dad was with the Angels, and I'm living in Southern California, and one of my best friends was a huge Mets fan, and he always wanted to be Doc Gooden. He was always number 16 in Little League, and we used to play rag ball, and he would always be Doc Gooden, so I'll go Doc.
Last one, they're wrapping us up. Biggest concern when you look at the other one's team heading into this series?
Their pitching's been tremendous, you know, from their starters to their bullpen, and a frontline offense that can, you know, hurt you in so many different ways.
Yeah, now for me, just they're a complete team. They're deep, you know. The offense, you know, speak for itself. But when you look at, you know, the guys that we're going to be facing this weekend, you know, Rodon, Clark, and Max on Sunday, and then you look at the bullpen. We got work to do here.
Well, guys, I'll let you do that work. Thank you so much for joining us. Appreciate it. We're going to take a quick step aside on BP All Access, but when we get back, we will have an all-new My Yankee Way and some final thoughts as we wrap things up and hand it over to the pregame show. Don't go anywhere. We'll be back next on All Access.
Shopping, working, and relaxing online can attract various digital threats. To improve your protection against them, just turn on NordVPN. This cybersecurity app will block web trackers and malware-infected sites. It will also encrypt your internet traffic without losing a smooth connection. Get the deal now. NordVPN, cybersecurity built for every day.
I'm sitting on top of the world. I'm rolling along. Yes, rolling along. I don't want any millions. I'm getting my share. I've only got one suit. That's all I can wear. And a sweet little honey on top of the world.
For your home and your range, Bad Boy Mowers will tame any terrain.
Give me a home.
Designed with advanced engineering and fueled by power that's second to none.
And the skies are not black all day. Home on the range.
Bad Boy. Mow with an attitude.
I'm Anya's indecision. I thought we were good. Like, with home projects, I used to make sure she got so twisted around, she wasn't even sure where to start. But Thumbtack changed her. With all the plans and guides and reminders, Anya's getting stuff done. And I'm getting ghosted.
Indecision doesn't live here. You do. Take care of your home with Thumbtack. Download the app today.
one final time here on BP All Access. It is time for My Yankee Way, where we find out how you, the fan, have earned your pinstripes. Today, we head to 127A, where Emily is standing by with her story.
I grew up a Yankees fan. My dad was a Yankees fan. My mom used to be a Mets fan, but she changed over to Yankees, so Yankees household, we're all Yankees fans, die hard. Growing up was Derek Jeter. It's got to be. El Capitan. He's the best. He's the best who's ever done it. The other captain, Aaron Judge. You can't pick anybody else. He's just the backbone of the team, for sure. Favorite memory's got to be just the bleachers, just hanging out there with the bleacher creatures, always just yelling and chanting for the team. There's one time I remember I called a grand slam for Mayhew, and I will never forget that moment. Earliest memory being a Yankee fan's got to be, I went to the old Yankee Stadium for a field trip with my school, and I took my dad. We sat in the dugout, and it was just the best day. I have pictures from it. I reminisce every day about it. It was just great.
And who doesn't love the energy that the bleacher creatures bring? As Aaron Boone said, they're probably going to get a little creative tonight with Juan Soto in town. And if you'd like to be featured on an upcoming My Yankee Way, email us at features@yesnetwork.com. Unfortunately, we are all out of time here on BP All Access. Thank you for joining us. Our next show will be June 6th when the Yankees welcome the Red Sox. Enjoy the pregame.
We've been sold on a system that costs more, asks more, and delivers less. Wake up. Health isn't bought. It's built. It's time to make choices that become habits, that change everything. Wake up. See what happens when the power is back in your hands. Welcome to the awakening.
Next up, Chris, male 29. He just bought a $30 banana slicer at 2 a.m.
And he just searched how to tell if your cat loves you.
I know just the thing.
Betrayed by your cat? Adopt a dog today.
Yeah, they know. But not with Surfshark VPN. Protect yourself from tracking and take back your privacy. Get Surfshark.
1. These cuts have likely been sitting out all day long. 2. You have no idea when they were packaged or where they came from. That's why we choose to get our protein from ButcherBox instead. This is high-quality meat you can trust and enjoy. It's packed and conveniently sent straight to your door, so you don't even have to think about your next grocery trip. Stock up your freezer and whip up a quality meal every night by checking out ButcherBox.com.
Studies show that over time, pets begin to resemble their owners. But even if they look like family, most aren't protected like family. In fact, only 4% of dogs and 1% of cats have proper pet insurance. Healthy Paws offers high-quality pet insurance protection that keeps your pet happy and healthy for years to come. Protected like family. Visit healthypaws.com today.
It's time again for the Battle of the Boroughs, the highly awaited matchup that is circled on the calendar every year.
It's time for the battle of this great city.
The Yankees, #1 in the American League East. The Mets, back in a groove atop the National League East. And tonight, they meet again.
Two teams trying to claim property.
The latest chapter of this city rivalry comes 25 years after its pinnacle. A quarter century since the finishing touches for one borough's legendary dynasty came at the expense of the team across town. And if you don't know, now you know. There's some added juice this time around. Trading in one shade of pinstripes for another has turned a hero into a villain, a friend to a foe. Meanwhile, the biggest bat in baseball still calls this side of the Big Apple home, continuing to do the incredible.
He's done it again.
The improbable and did the impossible, things not seen for generations.
Kind of leaves you speechless.
It's the Yankees.
See ya!
It's the Mets.
He almost hit it out of the stadium.
And it's the Subway Series. First stop, the Bronx. We've got a big matchup in the Big Apple with some big stars. Aaron Judge and the Bombers look to defend their turf, while Juan Soto returns to the Bronx to lead his Mets into enemy territory. We have arrived at the first Subway Series of the season as the New York Yankees host the New York Mets on a Friday night at Yankee Stadium. And we hope you're having a great night as we welcome you to the FanDuel Yankees pregame. Bob Lorenz, John Flaherty, Jack Curry with you. 1 to 3 between these two teams. Something of a seismic event this weekend. Potential Richter scale readings in the Bronx. Let's get your Hyundai opening comment.
Bob, it's going to be tense. It's going to be intense. We're talking about two teams who are in first place right now, so that just adds even more to this series. We talk about two passionate fan bases. The Mets and the Yankees have loyal fans who follow them around. And in every story that you talk about in this New York state of mind, you're going to have stars and you're going to have arch enemies. Obviously, it's in the Bronx. There's no bigger star in baseball right now than Aaron Judge. And tonight, there will be no bigger arch enemy than Juan Soto. And the fans in right field and throughout Yankee Stadium, I have a feeling they're going to let him know, we're okay with what you did in 24. We're not okay with anything that comes after 24.
Jack, I'm so glad you mentioned the fans because they are such a big part of this series. And when you're a Yankee player and you go through the grind of 162 games of a championship season, a lot of the games seem the same. These games are going to be different, and they're different because the fans bring the energy, they bring the passion, and you also get the feeling that both of these teams being in first place and the Juan Soto drama, these games are going to be different tonight. The entire weekend, when the series moves over to Citi Field, it's going to feel different, and the players are going to feed off of that energy.
So many different storylines as we take a look at the tail of the tape between these two clubs. We mentioned they're both in first place in their respective divisions. Yankees averaging almost 6 runs per game, while the Mets are at about 5. Pitching difference favors the Mets in terms of overall ERA, run differential. The Yankees second in the majors and first in home runs. And Flash, you look at those numbers, but then in a way you have to put them aside, because if you're in that clubhouse, you're thinking, how do we get a sweep? How do we win 2 or 3? How do we stay atop our division?
Yeah, how do we game plan against the opponent? And you just went through the numbers, and it's very simple. If you're going to face the New York Mets, you're going to have to deal with their pitching staff, not only the rotation, which has probably outperformed the expectations, but their bullpen is a quality bullpen as well, with a big-time closer at the end. If you're the Yankees, you're built around hitting home runs. Not going to be the easiest thing to do against this pitching staff. Yankees are going to have to game plan, try to get on the board early.
It's a series in May that is going to have so much attention, so much hoopla, and so much hype that it is going to feel as if these games are being played in October. And by the way, we should not be surprised that both of these teams are in first place. The Yankees made it all the way to the World Series last season, and even though they were unable to sign Soto in the offseason, offering him $750 million, he chose the Mets. They made some other savvy moves, Fried, Goldschmidt, Bellinger, Williams. And the Mets, they were also a postseason team last season, and now they added Soto. So to say that these teams are both in first place, I am not shocked by that at all.
Yeah, the Yankees are thriving in Soto's absence. Meantime, the Mets are thriving, though Soto's numbers overall are down. Some would say a little bit of a slow start to the season. Having said that, his numbers have been picking up in May.
Yeah, he's starting to heat up, and you see him catching up with the Yankee coaching staff behind the cage today. And a lot of great relationships, right? It was only 1 year in the Bronx, but it was a fantastic year going all the way to the World Series. But you mentioned the Mets, Bob. Lindor, you have to give him a lot of credit. Pete Alonso hitting in the middle of the lineup, who didn't have the free agent traction that he thought he was going to have. Well, he came back to the New York Mets and is having a big start to the season. Juan Soto is going to be the story tonight. And I do my research, guys, during the day. And I talked to a buddy of mine at the gym today, and I said, if you're at the game tonight, how are you going to react with Juan Soto? He said, I'm going to boo as loud as I can, but I'm also going to be sitting in my seat worried that the louder I boo, the better he's going to perform, because that's exactly what we saw from that 1 year in the Bronx, Jack. When the lights were the brightest, he was at his best.
So I like to have as many sources as possible. So I need Jim Guy's phone number before this show is over. But you're right. He did perform at such a high level that, of course, the Yankees made every attempt they could to bring him back. They fell short in that regard. But let's go back to the moment or the night where he signs. Bob, you and I were at the winter meetings in Dallas, and when word leaked out on a Sunday night in December that the Mets had signed Soto, the question was, the Mets are going to celebrate. What are the Yankees going to do next? Well, the Yankees are sitting here right now with a team that leads the major leagues in home runs. That's second in the major leagues in runs scored per game. They have gotten contributions from Goldschmidt and Grisham and Rice and Bellinger. So as much as they wanted Juan Soto back, I think they're saying right now, we like the version of this team we have. And you have to throw Fried in there, because if you worked the numbers and Soto had come back as a Yankee, I'm not sure Fried would have been part of that equation.
And that's another one of the storylines, is that you're not just game planning against Aaron Judge and nobody else, and Juan Soto and nobody else. There's so many complementary players around those guys that we're going to be talking about over the next hour.
Yeah, the stars are going to get all the attention, but it's the not the role players. They're still star players. I mentioned Lindor. I mentioned Alonso. They're going to be a big part of this. And on the Yankees, Jack just nailed it. Trent Grisham has been the guy. Goldschmidt has been the guy. It's been a complete lineup up and down for the New York Yankees. A complete team, really, the first start to the season with the pitching staff and the lineup. But everybody's going to be paying attention to Juan Soto and Aaron Judge. I would not be surprised if there are going to be some other names that might be the star this weekend.
Right, that's what's terrific about this series, is we're going to focus on the stars, but you never know who might be the player that stands out the most. It is interesting that Grisham was part of that Soto trade, and everyone looked at him as a throw-in, another piece to the trade. The Padres likely wanted the Yankees to take some more money back. And now at this moment right now, Grisham is outperforming Soto. I know how great Soto is. I've told friends that he'll probably end up being a top 5 MVP pick in the National League. We watched him all last season, but I do think the Yankees, with those complementary pieces, have shown that their offense not only has survived, but it has thrived.
Well, you saw it's going to be a packed house in the Bronx all weekend long and all season long here on Yes. We want to invite you viewers to show us the different ways you support the Bronx Bombers. Use the QR code on screen with a hashtag Toyota Pinstripe Pride and post pictures to social media that reflect your love for the Yankees. We might spotlight you in a future game. Pinstripe Pride is brought to you by Toyota, the official hybrid vehicles of the Yankees. Well, coming up, Carlos Rodon gets the ball for the Yanks tonight. We're going to break down the pitching matchup. Plus, Aaron Judge has done well against the Mets, and he'll look to take another bite out of this Big Apple matchup. And later, it's been 25 years since these teams met in the World Series. We'll look back on that classic. It is all ahead on this supersized FanDuel Yankees pregame on Yes and the Gotham Sports app.
The Yankees pregame show on Yes is presented by FanDuel. New customers get $250 in bonus bets if your first $5 bet wins.
Shopping, working, and relaxing online can attract various digital threats. To improve your protection against them, just turn on NordVPN. This cybersecurity app will block web trackers and malware-infected sites. It will also encrypt your internet traffic without losing a smooth connection. Get the deal now. NordVPN, cybersecurity built for every day.
Want to turn hair loss into hair gains? With Hims, discover a range of prescription treatments in a variety of convenient forms, like the quick-drying 4-in-1 spray. Products are formulated with doctor-trusted ingredients like finasteride and minoxidil, so you can stop hair loss and regrow hair in just 3 to 6 months for more confident hair days. Regain thicker, fuller hair now. Get started today at hims.com.
Custom shirts help people feel like they're part of a team. My name is Timothy Chi, and I'm the CEO of Wedding Wire. We're very proud customers of Custom Ink. We keep coming back to Custom Ink because of the quality of the product, the customer service, and the ease of use. That moment you walk in the office and people are wearing the same gear, you feel a sense of connectedness and belonging right away. And our shirts from Custom Ink help bring us together.
We make it easy to wow all your groups with high-quality custom apparel, accessories, and promo products, all backed by our guarantee at customink.com.
The Yankees pregame show on Yes is brought to you in part by your local Hyundai dealers. There's never been a better time to test drive that Hyundai you've always wanted. Visit HyundaiUSA.com today.
It's time for the pregame odds segment presented by FanDuel. It's game one of the Subway Series with the Yanks hosting the Mets in the Bronx. For a same-game parlay, let's do Aaron Judge to homer, Jason Dominguez to knock at least 2 hits, and Carlos Rodon to strike out 5 or more. That parlay comes in at plus 1064. Right now, new customers get $250 in bonus bets if your first $5 bet wins.
As we continue on the pregame, time to get to the Stadium for the Clubhouse Report with Meredith Marakovitz, brought to you by your local Ford stores. And Meredith, we've always talked all season long about that Yankees roster getting reinforcements in the bullpen, and that's happening today. Tell us about that.
Bob, this one came as a little bit of a surprise. Jonathan Loaisiga is back. He has been added to the roster. There was some thought that he would continue his rehab assignment and pitch in a back-to-back this weekend, but ultimately the Yankees decided it was not necessary, and they're going to ease him into it at the major league level. When I asked Aaron Boone exactly what that meant, he said probably won't be throwing him multiple innings or back-to-back off the jump, but they will get there eventually. When I asked if he's automatically a high-leverage guy or if they'll try to kind of get him some work in the middle innings first, and he said he would not hesitate to put Jonathan Loaisiga in any situation. And as we know, when Loaisiga is right, he is as good as it comes. Now, I did speak with Loaisiga in the clubhouse, and he said the most difficult thing in getting back and rehabbing is really the early part in that process, where you're kind of doubting yourself if you're going to be the same. You can't really do much, and you just want to get back out there on the field with your teammates. He worked through all of that, and he said he's just incredibly grateful to be healthy again, and thankful for everyone that helps get him back here to the major league level. Now, he did have 6 rehab appearances. He threw the ball very well. We'll see how it translates to the major league level. When I asked him about his command and how he was feeling on the mound, he said he feels like it's there. He feels like the command is there. He didn't walk anyone in any of those appearances, so it'll be nice to see him back out there. And I know Aaron Boone is very much looking forward to having another weapon in that bullpen. But with Loaisiga now on the roster, that means the Yankees had to make a move today. They designated Tyler Matzik for assignment, so that is the move to get Loaisiga back on that roster. Speaking of injuries, take a look at this, guys. Earlier today, I don't know that you thought you would be seeing Jazz Chisholm Jr. taking grounders at Yankee Stadium. He's out with the oblique injury. He admittedly said he couldn't believe that the MRI came back and showed an injury as severe as it was, but he told me that he's been running. You can see he's been fielding. He's also been hitting some flips, so he's kind of been doing everything so far. Now, Jazz Chisholm Jr. said he thinks about a week and a half. When I asked Aaron Boone about it, he said it's probably Jazz being a little bit optimistic there. The Yankees are pretty much cautious when it comes to bringing guys back, so a little bit more time perhaps for Jazz Chisholm Jr., but he is feeling good. He is showing signs of progress, so that is all something to keep an eye on. Another guy, Oswaldo Cabrera, who, as we know, got hurt in Seattle, had successful surgery on his left ankle to repair that fracture. Still no timeline for Oswaldo Cabrera, but he is in good spirits. He, too, went to Instagram to thank everyone who had helped him in that process after he got injured, from the trainers to his teammates to everyone in the Seattle organization as well. And that is the injury report brought to you by by Morgan & Morgan. As far as the Yankees lineup is concerned today, nothing too out of the ordinary. It is going to be Jason Dominguez DHing, so the outfield will be Bellinger, Grisham, and Aaron Judge. Ben Rice will be available off the bench, and it'll be Peraza at third base, Vivas at second base, and Austin Wells behind the plate catching Carlos Rodon. It'll be Taylor McGill on the mound for the Mets, and earlier today during BP All Access, I had the opportunity to catch up with both managers, Aaron Boone and Carlos Mendoza, to talk about the series.
I talk a lot about a heavy at bat, and Juan Soto's a heavy at bat, obviously. Just his ability to control the strike zone, the power threat to all fields, just one of the sport's great hitters. So we'll do our best. You know, we'll certainly be careful, but hopefully we can contain him enough for a few days to come out on top. But similar to Carlos, you know, he was great in our room. He was great to manage, very coachable, and obviously a central figure for us in getting to the World Series, and somebody that, you know, I have nothing but respect for and fond memories, and it'll be great to bump into him today as well.
Carlos, I know that you'd been around Aaron Judge for a very long time, but how do you wrap your head around the fact that he's now hitting above 400, plus, of course, the power is always there with him?
Yeah, I'm not surprised by it, and I knew you were coming with that question. You know, when you're asking him about Soto, you know, I was like, well, probably the same thing we're going to treat Judge, you know.
Give us all the secrets. How are you going to attack him? Are you going to attack him?
We'll let the game unfold, and we'll make some adjustments. Obviously, that's a deep lineup. You know, there's balance. There's a lot of different ways. There's a reason why the numbers offensively as a team. Yes, Judge is, you know, the big guy there, but 1 through 9, and you see the development of especially the younger players. Like, that's a really good lineup. Obviously, with Aaron, not surprised by it. You know, I have the experience to coaching since he was in the minor leagues, and watch him develop and become the player he is nowadays. He's, you know, he's pretty special, and you know that, man, how much better can he get? And he just continue to prove people wrong, you know, and he's just pretty unbelievable what he's doing. You know, not only hitting for power, but the average, everything. He's in the conversation for one of the best right-handed hitters in the history of the game. Biggest concern when you look at the other one's team heading into this series?
Their pitching's been tremendous, you know, from their starters to their bullpen, and a front line offense that can, you know, hurt you in so many different ways. Yeah, now for me, just their complete team. They're deep, you know. The offense, you know, speak for itself. But when you look at, you know, the guys that we're going to be facing this weekend, you know, Rodon, Clark, and Max on Sunday, and then you look at the bullpen. We got work to do here.
And you heard Carlos Mendoza talking about that Yankees bullpen. One guy that has been a find for the Yankees has been Fernando Cruz. His splitter has certainly been taking the league by storm. You look at the fact that he leads all major league relievers right now in strikeouts, striking out 34 of the 86 batters he has faced so far this season. As we know, Cruz is also a huge Yankees fan, still, and was when he was growing up as well. And I asked him about playing in his first Subway Series.
New York City is crazy right now, for this series and everything on it. I think it's a Latin community series too. Like, a lot of people from Puerto Rico is coming, a lot of people from Dominican, a lot of Latin players, Caribbean players, ex-players, and people that's coming to New York. It's going to be a good atmosphere here. It's going to feel more like a playoff games.
I was going to ask you about that atmosphere and the intensity. Does this up the intensity for you, do you think?
Yeah, it's gonna be up there. It's gonna be up there. I heard conversation. I never pitched in playoffs, but I heard conversation that the last years that they do the Subway Series, it feels pretty good, like playoffs.
Do you have a favorite Subway Series memory?
2000 World Series was amazing. It was amazing. We swept the Mets, and it was pretty good. I enjoyed it a lot.
And overall, just how are you feeling on the mound right now? You seem to have had success every time you're out there.
I feel really confident. I feel like everything is clicking up. I think what we work in spring training is paying off. Being patient was the most important thing, and now it's time to enjoy.
Can you describe what it's like to watch some of the silly swings against that splitter?
I think I take it really humble. I think it's just a gift from God. I'm always going to say the same thing. I take it really humble. It's a pleasure for me to be able to make those kind of guys look like that with the gift that God gave me to enjoy this game.
Jonathan Loaizaga added back to the roster. What could that mean for this bullpen?
Really important piece for us. We all know that. I think he's going to be the guy that's going to put the bullpen in the best position possible.
And Bob Jack Flash, this one should really be a fun one in the Bronx, a fun one in New York City all the way around. Just looking in the crowd, you see mostly Yankees jerseys, a couple of Mets jerseys, and of course some Knicks jerseys as well. In speaking to Aaron Boone, he had touched on that and just how the city is buzzing right now. I asked him what he thought this crowd was going to be like with Juan Soto being back, and he said, well, the bleacher creatures, they'll probably come up with something pretty creative this evening, so something to keep an eye on as you see the crowd gathered outside of Yankees Stadium. And a couple of those guys in that Yankees clubhouse are big basketball fans as well. Aaron Judge walked in wearing a Knicks sweatshirt, and Anthony Volpe is expected to be wearing some special Knicks cleats tonight. So big night in New York sports, guys.
A lot of stuff to keep an eye out for. Thank you, Meredith. Look forward to seeing you in just a bit with Michael, Coney, and Paul. Now, Aaron Judge has already hit a dozen home runs against the Mets in his career. Up next on the FanDuel Yankees pregame, we'll keep spreading the news about the captain's historic season. Stick around.
Shopping, working, and relaxing online can attract various digital threats. To improve your protection against them, just turn on NordVPN. This cybersecurity app will block web trackers and malware-infected sites. It will also encrypt your internet traffic without losing a smooth connection. Get the deal now. NordVPN, cybersecurity built for every day.
Enerpac low-height hydraulic cylinders are versatile and durable. And with several models to choose from, there's an RSM low-height cylinder for many different applications. Buy now at Enerpac.com.
Don't throw that in the trash.
Is someone there?
Down here, baby. You got a fear of grinding?
Well, no, but I was just...
Keeping food waste out of the trash and out of the landfill is better for the planet.
Really?
It also keeps your kitchen cleaner and fresher. That trash is getting kind of ripe. Just saying.
Nothing grinds more types of food waste than the next generation of InSinkErator garbage disposals.
Vegetable peels, fruit pits, look at you.
I couldn't have done it without you.
You got that right.
InSinkErator. Kitchen better.
Can a car do more than getting there? Can it move you? Questions matter, as long as you're asking the right ones. How we get there matters.
The Yankees pregame show on Yes is brought to you in part by Cadillac. Spring is the season for new beginnings, and it's the best time to get behind the wheel of a sophisticated new Cadillac SUV. Visit your Tri-State Cadillac dealer today.
The ballpark in the Bronx. Long a house of horrors for hurlers. The Bambino, the Iron Horse, mighty strikers of the highest order. Yet now a new nightmare emerges from Skipper Boone's boys. Aaron Judge, the great gatherer, the honorable one. A Bronx bomber whose brilliance knows no bounds. Prodigious power hoisting Herculean homers. What will this towering titan do next?
Amazing things are happening in the Bronx. It's a real wing-ding for the Yankees and their fans. Aaron Judge threw 43 team games, Ruth and Mantle, third Yankee all-time with a .350 average and 15 or more home runs. Ruth, Gehrig, Mantle, and Judge, fourth Yankee all-time with 40 or more RBI and 1,200 or more OPS. Back when Jack Curry was a writer for the New York Times covering Babe Ruth, Lou Gehrig, all the boys.
I can't do the voice like you, but if you do read journalists from the 20s and the 30s, they would have said something along the lines of, he is the best hitter on the local nine. He's filling out the uniform very nicely. He's an imposing figure. I tried to match Bob. But what stood out for me, guys, in that last series against Seattle is they pitched him really well. Aaron Boone talked about this. Still 5 for 11, walked 3 times, and hit a bullet of a home run.
Jack, I'm so glad that you brought that up because I've been talking all year. You can look at the numbers, the batting average well over 400, 15 home runs, 41 RBIs, the OPS, all of that is incredible. But to me, it's the mental part of the game. Like some of the swings that he took out in Seattle where he looked as bad as we have seen him look this year, and then he quickly gets rid of it. He quickly moves on to what's the next pitch coming? What do I have to do to get ready for this at bat? And that's the part that I'm just amazed at, because the only other player that I can compare it to I played with was Derek Jeter, who never took like an 0 for 2 and it turned into an 0 for 4. It was, okay, I went 0 for 1. Now I'm going to try to get a hit or walk my next at bat. And it just never snowballed. And that's what I feel like I'm watching with Aaron Judge. If he takes a bad swing, no big deal, gets back in there and has a good at-bat. It's just the mental part of the game to be so locked in day to day, at bat to bat, and even more specific pitch to pitch.
And I don't think it's a stretch, Jack, to say that his approach at the plate is contagious. Now, his teammates can watch it, but they also watch a guy with so much discipline who can tear the cover off the ball. He doesn't mind if he just takes a walk, hands it off to a teammate, which shows confidence then in the teammates behind him.
Yeah, what John was talking about, there's a mental discipline, but there's a physical discipline, too, of I'm not going to extend and go out there because I know that's going to be a ball. I'm not going to go down the 1/3 part of the lower part of the zone, even though they sometimes call that a strike against him because he knows that is a ball. And the Mariners did do a good job of a lot of sliders and a lot of off-speed stuff just off the corner and got him to chase. But overall on this season, he's striking out less, and he has just been such an amazing hitter. You look at all of the categories that he leads Major League Baseball, and it's stunning.
Yeah, and Jack, I'm sitting here listening to you go through all of this, and I'm thinking how great it would be to be Aaron Judge, to be walking up to the plate every night and saying, I'm the guy who can wreck the game every night, every at bat. But to his credit, he doesn't walk up there with that responsibility. He walks up there saying, all right, New York Mets pitching staff, you have a real good staff. If you give me something to drive, I'll take advantage of it. If not, I'm going to take my walk and I'm going to trust the guy hitting behind me. And the bottom of the lineup, it's a non-selfish approach, and a big reason why this lineup from 1 to 9 has been producing all year long.
In that dual interview that Meredith did with Boone and Mendoza, at one point she asked Mendoza about how are you going to pitch Judge? Will you pitch the Judge? Well, how about this statistic? Just one more to add on the whole Judge list this season. When he falls behind 0-1 in the count, he's hitting .372. The Major League average is .216. When the pitcher gets ahead of you 0-1, he's got the advantage. There's so many different things he can do, except if it's Aaron Judge at the plate.
Yeah, it has been advantage Judge all season long. Let's take a look at where he factors into the Yankees lineup, courtesy of Toyota. Batting second tonight, his 330 home runs and 1,036 career games, the most in Major League history. He's coming off hitting his 15th a couple games ago. Cody Bellinger has hit safely in each of his last 10 games, and Jason Dominguez over his last 9, 3 homers and 8 runs batted in. They go up against Tyler McGill tonight. Let's take a look at his arsenal, courtesy of StatCast 3D, powered by Google Cloud, and he is heavy on the 4-seam slider and sinker.
Yeah, the 4-seamer about 95 miles an hour, throwing his slider more this year than he did last year, and the sinker. The top 3 pitches really what the Yankees need to worry about. When you watch video of McGill early on in the year, he was getting that fastball, getting a lot of swing and miss. It was 95, but had high life, had good spin on it. His last 3 outings, the ERA is over 6. I'm wondering if there's a little less hop on that fastball, and some of the opposing hitters are taking advantage of it. Another number, he doesn't pitch as well on the road as he does at Citi Field. There's a lot on him tonight because he's been struggling his last 3.
Yeah, he's in that rotation because of injuries to Montas and Minaya, and as you said, John, got off to a really strong start, but it's been a struggle for him recently. He has thrown his slider a lot more this year, twice as much as he did last year. So we'll see if against Judge and especially other right-handed batters, in that Yankee lineup. Does he feature that slider even more?
Paul O'Neill and David Cohn know a thing or two about the Subway Series. And after a break on the FanDuel Yankees pregame, Michael Kay strolls down memory lane with his booth mates. That's coming up next on Yes and the Gotham Sports app.
Shopping, working, and relaxing online can attract various digital threats. To improve your protection against them, just turn on NordVPN. This cybersecurity app will block web trackers and malware-infected sites. It will also encrypt your internet traffic without losing a smooth connection. Get the deal now. NordVPN, cybersecurity built for every day.
Well, if you want my 2 cents on interest rates, we got options.
My 2 cents. This one's priced to sell.
My 2 cents?
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 Here's my 2 cents. I'm planning for the future. Interest plus interest equals more interest. Come on, man. You gonna drink that?
Hi, Joan. Perfect timing. I have a few questions.
Of course. Let's look at your plan.
Right now, you can lease a new 2025 Corolla for just $199 a month. Or you can lease the all-hybrid 2025 Camry with all-wheel drive for just $299 a month.
Your summer starts here.
Toyota, let's go places.
Dunkin's $6 meal deal is back. You get a medium iced or hot coffee, bacon, egg, and cheese, and 6 toasty hash browns. It's the biggest deal on breakfast, Dunkin's $6 meal deal.
I don't know why you're so sad. You've got a roof over your head.
Bro, you gotta stop with that depression stuff.
Escúchame, en esta casa, los hombres no lloran.
You alright?
It just feels like it's coming from everywhere.
Do you want to talk about it?
Thanks for hearing me out, bro. Appreciate it.
You can talk to me if you're feeling sad. Whenever you need to talk, I'm here, okay?
The Yankees pregame show on Yes is brought to you in part by your local tri-state Genesis retailers. Learn more at genesis.com.
25th year anniversary of the 2000 World Series. The ultimate Subway Series. And Mariano Rivera getting the final out off the bat of Mike Piazza as the Yankees win the World Championship. And Flash, as you reflect on that, you actually go back to the regular season that season.
Yeah, I was a member of the 2000 Devil Rays competing against that team in the American League East. So I don't have a whole lot of memories about the Yankees and their postseason run and beating the Mets, but I do remember coming down the stretch the last couple of weeks of the season. We, the Tampa Bay Devil Rays, swept the New York Yankees in Tampa. Game 1, we beat El Duque 3-1. The next 2 games, we dominated that team. And I remember having conversations in the clubhouse after those games, after that series, saying this is not a championship team that we just beat. They were limping to the finish line, but something happened, Jack, from the end of September into the month of October. They completely flipped that script.
They lost 13 of their last 15, so you're exactly right. They got to the postseason, though, and that championship pedigree rose up again. They had won 98. They had won in 99. But one of my memories is Game 1 in 2000 against the Mets. The Yankees won the game 4-3 in 12 innings. But how about this in the 6th inning? Todd Zeile hits a ball off the top of the fence. Timo Perez is on first. He's not running. So justice to Jeter, to Posada, and in a game that ended up being an extra inning game, that play right there, great defensive play by the Yankees, but also Timo not running hard with 2 outs, watching the ball. I spoke to Al Leiter in subsequent years, and he didn't say that lost them the series, but it very well could have lost them that game, and who knows how things would have changed if the Mets win Game 1.
Well, a lot has happened between these two teams, obviously. This one, obviously, with two first-place teams, a lot of juice in this one going into tonight's Game 1 of this series. For more from the stadium, let's get it to Michael Kay, Paul O'Neill, and David Cohn with their thoughts. Guys?
All right, thanks a lot, Bob. So I'm standing between 10 World Series rings here. These guys have won. They've played in the Subway Series, and the Subway Series is always intense, even if the teams aren't good. This time they're good. They're both in first place, and they have high aspirations.
They do, and we've seen some homecomings. You know, when you think about it, there's none like this one. When Juan Soto walks up to home plate for the first time, there's going to be a reaction I don't think we've ever seen before, and I'm anxious to see it.
All right, so what do you think he's going to hear? Is he going to hear cheers? Is he going to hear boos?
The second half, a lot of boos. I don't think there'll be a cheer around here, but you know what? There are Mets fans here, and they're going to bring that vibe there too. So this is an exciting series.
All right, so that brings an unbelievable vibe, the return of Juan Soto after he had such a great year with the Yankees, leading them to the World Series. But you played in the first Subway Series. What was the vibe like then?
That was a really amazing thing because that was the first, really the interleague play. And I remember we got shut down by Malicki that night. But, I had so many memories throughout the years of the series. But I don't know that there's been two good teams meeting together in the series since the real one in 2000 in the World Series. These teams are good.
Do you remember the first Subway Series?
Oh, yes. I remember very well. And I remember pitching in the last game and being just amazed what Paulie said about there was half Mets fans at Yankee Stadium, and you just couldn't believe it. We'd never seen that before. So certainly it reminded me of what a great baseball town New York is. I think we tend to take that for granted because we play here and now we broadcast here. But this is one great baseball town.
Now, one of the variables that don't exist anymore is the fact that George Steinbrenner was running the Yankees at that point. He's obviously no longer with us. That added a little something extra for you guys could not lose to the Mets.
There were certain teams that you could not lose against, and the Mets were at the top of the list. There was, George Steinbrenner always said to me that New York deserves a winner. Well, the winner had to be the Yankees. It wasn't going to be the Mets, so that's the way we played.
All right, so the first Subway Series obviously was very intense, but the thing that ratcheted up the most was the Subway Series that really counted for the World Series championship in 2000. How intense was that? I remember Paul once told me we had to win that one.
Oh, yeah, it was so intense that George Steinbrenner proceeded to sort of park it at every meeting. Whether it was a hitters' meetings, he was staring over Chris Chambliss' shoulder. Or if it was a pitcher's meeting, it was Mel Stoudemire. He wanted to be a coach inside those meetings, and then he rearranged the furniture famously at Shea Stadium during those middle three games, and was the first one to get there and the last one to leave and watch every inning. I remember watching him yell at TVs, yelling at umpires on the TVs, and it was just surreal.
Now, I've heard the story a lot. He actually turned George Steinbrenner on you at Shea Stadium. Tell me about that.
Coney, I don't know. He turned everybody on people. That's how he kept this loose. But you know what? You needed to loosen up George as much as you needed to loosen up players. And you know what? Coney brought that up about redecorating the locker room. That's a true story. I mean, the broadcast tonight, I'm sure, are going to bring so many memories from David and I just about what is going on in this Subway Series and the real World Series.
Now, one of the great at-bats in World Series history to me was in that 2000 series, and it was by you against Armando Benitez. I don't even know how you saw what he was throwing, but somehow you worked a walk. Talk me through that.
Well, if he knew the way I felt in the box, he would have rolled it in there, because I got down in the count early and really just kept stepping out, thinking, I got no chance, got to keep battling, you got to keep battling. And as soon as you get to 3-2, anything can happen. And then I remember walking, being relieved that we started something, and then the hits started coming. And it was pretty much when you steal a game in a World Series, it's very hard to come back, and the Mets never did.
Now, one of the surprises when they put the postseason roster together that year was that David was on the roster, because he did struggle in the regular season. And you did have your moment when Joe Torre brought you in the fifth inning to face Mike Piazza in relief of Denny Nagel. Nagel has still not forgiven him. But what was that like? What was it like jogging in the ballpark that you used to play in?
Well, you're right. I had no business being on that roster in the first place. I was hurting. You know, I dislocated my shoulder and played through injuries. I had nothing left. But Joe Torre trusted guys, you know, and that was the difference. He really trusted your heartbeat. He showed a lot of loyalty, and certainly I knew Piazza was my guy and that I was going to be in the bullpen and that if there was ever a situation, it would be for Piazza. And luckily, I got him to pop up because that was my one shot and my last at-bat as a Yankee.
Now, did you look at it and go, what do I have to get him out? Because your stuff was not what it used to be at that point. So were you just trying to trick him?
No, I knew from the scouting report that he would spot me a strike, you know, that he always took a strike. And I missed with the first pitch, and I really trusted that scouting report, and I laid one right down the middle, and he took it. And that was the best pitch to hit right there. So, you know, I tip my hat to Mike, and every time I see him, I say thank you for taking that first pitch strike. And then I went to throwing sliders, and then once I could get him chasing sliders, then he was kind of in my wheelhouse as far as that goes. And Posada was catching. He called a fastball in, and I went, okay, are you sure? Threw it in, popped him up to second base.
Now, this is one of those things where I remember in '98 you told me we have to win against the Padres, otherwise we don't validate 114 wins. What kind of pressure was it against the Mets? Because obviously you'd won championships before that, 3 in the last 4 years. How important was it to win that one?
Well, again, it was the pressure from the city, and you couldn't get away from it. I mean, you pick up the paper, you watch the news, you could not get away from the World Series. I thought the world stopped. I thought it was all around New York. And, you know, it's just an exciting time to play baseball, but there's always pressure in any World Series to win because we hadn't lost until 2001. So there was always pressure. But when you're getting on a bus and going across town to your rival, there's a lot of pressure.
We've got to go up to the booth, Bob. At that time, Paul's going to actually put on a tie to match me and David. It's going to be a great game. It's going to be a great series. All three of us are looking forward to it. So back to you, Bob.
We're looking forward to your call, guys. We'll see you in about 20 minutes. Now, Carlos Rodon has been slicing and dicing opposing lineups all season, and it's led to a lot of strikeouts for the Southpaw. He toes the slab and the boogie down tonight. We'll tell you what to expect next on the FanDuel Yankees pregame.
Don't throw that in the trash.
Is someone there?
Down here, baby. You got a fear of grinding?
Well, no, but I was just...
Keeping food waste out of the trash and out of the landfill is better for the planet.
Really?
It also keeps your kitchen cleaner and fresher. That trash is getting kind of ripe. Just saying.
Nothing grinds more types of food waste than the next generation of InSinkErator garbage disposals.
Vegetable peels, fruit pits. Look at you.
I couldn't have done it without you.
You got that right.
InSinkErator. Kitchen better. And better.
Well, if you want my 2 cents on interest rates, we got options.
My 2 cents. This one's priced to sell.
My 2 cents?
My 2 cents?
My 2 cents? My 2 cents? My 2 cents?
Here's my 2 cents. I'm planning for the future. Interest plus interest equals more interest. Come on, now. You can drink that.
Hi, Joan. Perfect timing. I have a few questions.
Of course. Let's look at your plan.
I am Polestar 3. I am pure electric performance. From the straightaways to the hairpin turns, I am designed to be driven. The drive of tomorrow. I am Polestar 3. Make this offer ends June 2nd.
Hey there, Yankees fans. I'm News 12 meteorologist Matt Hammer with your game day forecast as the Yankees are home taking on the New York Mets. First pitch, mostly cloudy, temperature of around 68. While we can't rule out completely a spotty shower or downpour through the game, I do expect most, if not all of the game to be dry. Around the 7th inning, mostly cloudy, still in the upper 60s. Around 66 heading home, but just keep in mind there could be some patchy fog after the game. Enjoy the game.
Thank you for that. Carlos Rodon has taken the mound, and look at what he's accomplished in 9 starts this season. He's second in opponent average against, third in strikeout percentage, 7th in innings, tied for second in strikeouts with 67, and the opponent OPS is 8. So all top 8 ranks in the American League. And the one thing that jumps out at you about him, Flash, even in starts where it seems like it's a bit of a grind, he's still racking up strikeouts.
Yeah, the strikeouts last outing, 10 strikeouts, where I didn't think he had his greatest stuff at all. Gave up 8 hits and 4 runs. But I look at him starting this series tonight, and the Yankees have a newfound confidence that they're going to get the same same guy every fifth day when he takes the baseball. You can see the 1.71 ERA in his last 5 starts. If you look at his season in totality, he's thrown the ball magnificently. It's been a couple of home runs that have changed some of the starts, just like his last outing. I did notice, Jack, his last time out, velocity was down early in the first inning. It got a little bit better as the game went on. As he faces the Mets tonight with this crowd and all the adrenaline, I'm going to be looking at the miles per hour in the first inning.
We've seen versions of Rodon where he is amped up for that first inning. You see him coming out with more velocity. But I like what you said about the dependability of Rodon and the consistency of Rodon. Remember, when he came to the Yankees, he had just finished the season with the Giants where he was more than 90% four-seam fastball and slider. Now he throws those 2 pitches less than 70% of the time. The changeup, the sinker, the curve, they are all in play. He has made himself a better pitcher with the help of the Yankees. One matchup to keep an eye on, Lindor has seen him a lot. Lindor has 35 at-bats against Rodon, so that should be a fun one to take a look at.
Let's take a look at the Mets lineup that will face Rodon. It's courtesy of Toyota. Lindor is at the top of that, as Jack mentioned. His 10 for 35 includes 3 doubles and 2 home runs. Brandon Nimmo riding a 7-game hitting streak. And Juan Soto at Yankee Stadium, second highest OPS only to Aaron Judge. So if they're doing a scouting report on Carlos Rodon, they're looking at that. Or they can't look at just, he's a fastball slider guy anymore. As Jack said, they got to look at all 4 pitches.
No, it's a 2-seamer. It's a changeup. He's a complete pitcher. But I'm locked in on the top of the first inning. If you're a Yankee fan, you have to pay attention to that first inning. Lindor, Jack just mentioned all of the at-bats against Rodon. A lot of history there. Juan Soto, we've already talked about this. That's going to be a great matchup. And then you got Pete Alonso, who has been their best offensive player all the way around with the batting average, the home runs. If Rodon can settle himself down in the first inning and find a way to take a deep breath after that, Jack, I think he's going to be fine.
If he strikes out Soto in that first inning, or just even gets him out, whatever the decibel level is at Yankee Stadium, it's going to rise even more. So you don't necessarily want to put too much on a first inning, but I'm with you. I'm putting a lot on that first inning for Rodon to be able to put up a 0. Interesting comments from Rodon in the New York Post today when he was asked about facing Soto and the fact that Soto saw all of his pitches last season. Rodon said, well, I saw all of his swings, too. I saw all of his at-bats. So some good mano-a-mano that we're going to be featured tonight.
Well, what happens if this battle of the boroughs comes down to a battle of the bullpens? Still to come on the FanDuel Yankees pregame, we're going to break down who has the edge when it comes to those late-game, high-octane arms. Don't go anywhere.
Well, if you want my 2 cents on interest rates, we got options.
My 2 cents. This one's priced to sell.
My 2 cents? My 2 cents?
My 2 cents? My 2 cents? My 2 cents?
Here's my 2 cents. I'm planning for the future. Interest plus interest equals more interest. Come on, man. You can drink that.
Hi, Joan. Perfect timing. I have a...
Of course. Let's look at your plan.
Macaroni's back at Papa John's with more pepperonis and over ½ pound of cheese.
So many orders, we had to staff up.
I am here to work, people. Where's the garlic sauce?
Is he always here? He's everywhere. We're making you a Shakaroni for $12.99.
That's right. I live here.
In this town, to play with the big boys, you gotta look the part. Because when the lights come on, it's time to shine and stand out from the crowd. An authentic cultural icon, electrified, just like New York.
Visit your Tri-State Cadillac dealer today and experience the first ever all-electric Escalade IQ. This is summer with Nissan. It's a great time to buy at the Nissan Summer Sales Event, featuring the award-winning Rogue and Pathfinder. Now more affordable. Get the #1 shopping experience according to J.D. Power. Hurry to a Nissan dealer today.
Now get a low $240 lease on Rogue or get a low $339 per month lease on Pathfinder.
The Yankees pregame show on Yes is brought to you in part by More.com.
When you get these intense games against rivals, things could go to the late innings, maybe a one-run, two-run games. These are the way the bullpens stack up between the Mets and the Yankees. Mets with a sub-3 ERA. Yankees with a better opponent average against. Yanks with a little better strikeout percentage. As we take a look at these bullpens, Jack, is there an advantage one way or the other? There are some big arms at the back end, but they get things done in a variety of different ways.
It's a very close matchup to call it one way or the other. I look at the Yankees and what they have gotten from Luke Weaver this season, and he has been nails for the whole year. Now, Diaz recently has been unbelievable for the Mets. The last 11 games, only 1 run allowed. That was after a blip at the beginning of the season. But I think the X factor for me is someone that Meredith spoke to earlier, and that is Cruz. He comes in with that splitter and just makes good hitters look foolish. So if you're Aaron Boone tonight, you're probably hoping that Rodon can get you deep into the game. And then Cruz and Weaver are some late-inning, high-leverage guys you want to turn to.
Yeah, you always have to start at the back and then come back to the middle of the game. And you talked about the two closers, both on top of their games right now. So the Yankees feel great about Weaver. And then you start working back the 8th inning. Devin Williams seems to be back on track, so that's an attractive option. Jonathan Loaisiga being activated today is a huge addition for the New York Yankees. Just because what we have heard from the reports, Aaron Boone telling Meredith how great he has looked in the minor leagues, did not walk a batter during his rehab. That tells me a lot about the health and the mental comfort knowing that he's healthy and he can attack the strike zone. If you're getting Jonathan Loaisiga back, Jack, the guy that we think about, not the guy that's been injured, that is a huge addition.
A few years back, he was the best reliever in the American League. And I know injuries have pushed him off to the side and turned him into a spectator. But, John, you used the word. If he can stay healthy, suddenly Loaisiga is another pitcher that you have. You're very willing to say, here, you use him in the 8th inning, and you use him in the 9th inning. Boone said before the game he will not hesitate to use Loaisiga in any situation. If they have the best of Loaisiga back, that is a terrific addition.
And if you do want to use him late, how about, like, if you said all of a sudden the Mets are looking at a Cruz in the 6th or 7th inning? I mean, you talk about shortening a game.
Yeah, I'm very interested to see how Aaron Boone is going to handle this, right? Probably not going to go back-to-back with Loaisiga. But do you just throw him right into a high-leverage situation against the Mets in the Subway Series? He probably won't hesitate to do that because of his pedigree. I'm sure he would rather a little low-leverage situation, get him back into a big league game, get him around the atmosphere again, and then you get him rolling as the season moved on. But if I'm Aaron Boone and I have Jonathan Loaisiga in that bullpen in a big spot, I would not hesitate.
Well, this is rivalry weekend across Major League Baseball, and as we have talked about, the Big Apple is buzzing right now outside the World Trade Center Oculus in downtown Manhattan. Fans are getting ready to watch our Yes Network broadcast on a big screen as part of the Major League Baseball watch party, complete with rally towels and other giveaways. The event is going on all weekend, so stop on by. We're going to wrap things up on the FanDuel Yankees pregame.